Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, this morning we'll be looking, I think most of our viewers will probably want to comment on, the Senate's happenings in the Senate yesterday. The bill, that the electoral bill that had been signed by the president, the president, did request that they remove a particular section. We'll be looking at that today because the Senate threw out the request, apparently. The nays have it, was a resounding kind of result. So that's that. We'll be looking at that. But before we go there, we have a bit of science and technology, if you want, and geography, if you want, to deal with. We shall be, looking at an atlas for green hydrogen energy potentials in Africa. There's a sense in which we're talking about climate change, but my job is easy here because the experts that are on it, we'll get an explanation from them. And this is to introduce Professor Apollonia Ohimame, who is Director of WASCAL Climate Change. Now, WASCAL is the West Africa Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use. Now, we have from the Federal University of Technology in Abuja, a Professor, Apollonia Ohimame, to tell us about it. Also, we're joined by Dr. Solomon Agbo, who is Project Coordinator, Atlas for Green Hydrogen Energy Potentials for Africa. He is based in Germany. Professor Ohimame is based in Nigeria. So, good morning to you, Professor. Okay, good morning, Doctor. I'll say good morning to you too. That appeared to be Dr. Agbo. And now I have the professor. Good morning, Professor. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Okay, thank you. I should also say good morning to Dr. Solomon Agbo. Well, I understand that there are issues where we'll say good morning to the good doctor when we do get the chance. Now, I've just been introducing you, Professor, Director of WASCAL, and I sort of explained that WASCAL is West Africa Science Service Center. Now, I have found out on your website already that your business, what you really are out to do is to provide information and knowledge at the local, national, and regional level. Now, well, this is what has been going on for quite a long time. Are there new education techniques in this digital age that we're in? And please, while you're at it, Professor, could you explain to us the atlas of green hydrogen that I'm hearing is quite important as well?
I will start with your first question, Yori.
Okay.
And that's if there's anything new on the way education is delivered.
Yes.
Obviously, the incidence of COVID, the occurrence of COVID has driven everybody or almost everybody online. So today, education is delivered digitally, online, using technologies that have to do with smart boards, software like WebEx, Zoom, and so on and so on and so forth. So this is not like previous times when you have to be physically present in an enclosed space. Here, you can be in your home. These days, you can be in your home and get your lectures delivered right there. And you can even interact if you have the right technology, where the only difference is that physically your lecturer is not in the class with you, but he sees you. If he wants to identify you in the classroom, he can use a tool to zoom to you if you're asking a question, or zoom backwards and see the whole class. Okay. So with that digital effect, education is delivered anyway, in some cases, even in a better form, because it's digital.
Okay.
So there's a big difference now that COVID-19 has created for everyone. Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to have the infrastructure and the infrastructure is what we really do not have the way we should in Nigeria. But I'm sure someday we'll get there.
All right.
Secondly,
carry on, please.
Secondly, on the Hydrogen Atlas Nigeria, which we also call Green Atlas of Green Hydrogen Generation Potentials in Nigeria. We have this West African innovative educational platform called WASCAL. It commenced about this year is the 10th anniversary of WASCAL. It commenced in 2012, and it involves 12 programs in 11 countries in West Africa, Nigeria inclusive. Nigeria has 2 of the programs in existence. Now, WASCAL is involved not only with capacity building, but we also go as far as trying to reduce or make research findings very accessible to policymakers. We also go into research, and it's through one of such research endeavors that the green hydrogen energy potential came into being in West Africa. So the entry point into West Africa was WASCAL.
Okay.
And I have a colleague, Dr. Agbo, who is the African coordinator, because this same project is going on not only in West Africa, but also in Southern Africa.
Okay.
And I think it's about to also go to occur in East Africa.
And he's based out of Germany.
So he will tell you, give us a brief.
He is based out of Germany, Dr. Agbo.
He's based in Germany. In fact, his research institute is the coordinating institute in Germany, but it's funded, the research is funded by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research in Germany.
In Germany. And you you of course are based in Nigeria. I beg your pardon. Sorry for interrupting you. You are based in Nigeria, and you're doing part of the work that Dr. Agbo is also doing. Only Dr. Agbo has the region, as it were, to worry about, and you have just Nigeria to worry about. Although I don't know why I should say just about Nigeria, with all the land mass and potentials. You are a professor of geography. I don't know if I said that at the top. So I can see how all of this is going to begin to relate. Now, I wanted to ask the question, either from you or Dr. Agbo, what exactly, how important climate change is? Because we hear this conversation mostly from the West, how important climate change is. They seem to have the knowledge, or shall I say the awareness of the importance of it here. So this is showing to me that our intellectuals, our academics also know of the importance of it. But then green hydrogen generation potentials. Now, why is that important?
I will say a little, then I'll leave Dr. Agbo to say the rest.
Okay.
First and foremost, what is the cause of climate change? Climate change is in existence because we have used our fossil fuels to destabilize the normal function of the atmosphere, thereby leading to increase in temperature. I'm trying not to be too scientific.
Thank you.
Viewers will understand this. So this destabilized situation has led to all kinds of freak occurrence in our weather, where probably you didn't have excessive rainfall, you would have rainfall, sometimes no rainfall at all, so much more. And it is blamed on fossil fuel that we use that emit carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So now, one of the ways to minimize this emission is to go green by using renewable energy. We have heard of solar energy, wind energy, and all of that. But it has been found out that one of the cleanest and most abundant source is hydrogen. Of course, there are different types of hydrogen energy. That I will leave to Dr. Agbo.
Okay.
But hydrogen, if we get used to, or if we begin to use hydrogen energy, there's a high chance that the carbon footprint would reduce or begin to reduce. Carbon footprint in the sense that what we emit that damages the environment. So green hydrogen energy is clean energy that has zero emission. And that is why that's why there's global interest in this particular form of energy. I think
Okay.
I'll leave Dr. Agbo to explain the rest of it.
Indeed, Dr. Agbo, can I say good morning to him yet, Dr. Agbo? Not yet. Well, Dr. Solomon Agbo, good morning to you, sir. We've just been talking about it, and
good morning. Thank you for having me.
Indeed, it is indeed our pleasure, and we're really struggling to learn here because I know you're trying to break this technical subject down for us. Now, last time I heard about hydrogen, one was in secondary school, and it was all about chemistry. But so, why is green? Why should we? What do we need to know about green hydrogen, especially if it's good, and it certainly must be good? That's why you're working on it. What are the potentials for generating green hydrogen? In terms, safe, as the professor was explaining, without emitting a carbon footprint. What indeed are these potentials for hydrogen generation in our region, in West Africa? Did you hear me, Doctor? Oh dear.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, so like Prof already mentioned, when we talk about green hydrogen, you are talking about hydrogen that you generate from using renewable energy as the energy source. So hydrogen, it's an energy carrier which many people refer to the fuel of the future. So when you talk about the energy transition, as in the global move to go from the conventional non-renewable energy sources that emit carbon and lead to degradation of our environment, and then transitioning into green energy, into more climate-friendly energy, then this is where green hydrogen comes in as one of the energy carriers that would play a role in the future. So to generate green hydrogen, you have to use renewable energy sources. So this can be wind energy, this can also be photovoltaic energy, so this is energy you get from the sun. And the process is quite simple. So you use this energy you get from the sun, and then you split water. So basically, you have this renewable energy as one of the source or the resource materials you require, and then you also need water. And so for us in Nigeria, for example, we have the abundance of solar energy. Then we also have water. So you need fresh water, so which we can get from groundwater, or we can also desalinate seawater or salt water, and then we get fresh water, which we now is split, and then you get hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen is extremely very important because it has several uses, whether in the transport sector, whether it's in the chemical industries, whether it's in the in the agriculture sector, where you can use hydrogen, for example, to make fertilizers that can be relevant for the agri sector. So it has a huge uses. So when we look at this, like I mentioned, so you look at the resources that you require.
When you say,
based also on the work that we have done in the H2
Dr. Agbo.
Africa.
Okay. I was trying to find out,
yes, please,
if you are implying here or stating that hydrogen is in fact a fuel of the future.
Yes. Exactly, that's the point. So it's one of the energy carriers that will play really a very key role in the entire transition to greener energy. Because the beautiful thing about hydrogen is if you burn hydrogen, the output is just water. So there are no carbon emissions. And so this in one way addresses the issue of climate change. But then on another way, it's an energy source that is abundant. So we have, like I said, we have solar radiation in abundance here in Nigeria. We have water. So by every means, we are able to generate in huge quantity. So this is also one of the results that we have shown in the Atlas, that we have these resources in abundance in Nigeria to be able to generate green hydrogen, which can play really a very key role for Nigeria in various sectors.
Well, you're talking about Nigeria now, Doctor, but I understand that WASCAL, as people can find out who go to the website wascal.org, WASCAL, wascal.org, and WASCAL stands for West Africa Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use. So coming back to you now, Dr. Agbo, I don't know whether it's the prof or you, because this is also technical to me. So what's the adapted land use part of this equation?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well. Okay. Perhaps maybe Professor Apollonia can
okay, I'm so sorry about that. Well, first of all, I gave you a website, wascal.org. But from there, I am seeing that there's also your name, the acronym WASCAL is West African Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use. So I was inquiring as to what's the adapted land use part of the whole climate change equation? Well,
okay, thank you very much. So WASCAL, like Prof earlier mentioned, WASCAL engages in climate services. So in one way, in one part, for example, WASCAL is very focused on capacity building, so training up young people to be a bit more climate conscious, and then to be also to take measures that mitigate the impact of climate change, but also address adaptation measures. So when you talk about adapted land use, for WASCAL, this is very important, because for various, in the whole of West Africa, like Prof already mentioned, we have seen increased cases of drought, sometimes flooding, sometimes also irregular rain patterns. So these are fingerprints of climate change. But one of the activities of WASCAL is really looking at other measures, for example, using renewable energy as a way to adapt to land use in a way that you reduce the impact of climate change. So in general, this is one of the key areas that WASCAL is focused on.
Okay.
And I think I would ask Professor Apollonia to add more to this.
Indeed. So coming to you, Professor Apollonia Ohimame, you are in Nigeria here, so you were telling us about efforts in Nigeria, but the same thing is going on, I understand, in about 10 countries. So you're sort of aggregating all of this knowledge. So I wanted to ask, how far advanced are we in Nigeria? No, that's not good enough. I wanted to ask in terms of the area that needs to be covered. Nigeria is one of the 10 countries. So how are we doing among our peers in the region in terms of being knowledgeable about climate change, and indeed our governments acting on information that you are bringing? Is Nigeria way ahead? Is it in the middle? Is it lagging? What are your thoughts, Professor?
Nigeria is, let's say, on the scale of 1 to 10, Nigeria is probably a level 3. Level 3 because We have just generated the atlas. We have an atlas that shows the potential of green hydrogen energy generation. This awareness creation that we brought to your TV station is to create awareness publicly that it is possible to utilize hydrogen as an alternative source of fuel in Nigeria. And it is clean, it is green, with zero emission. In other words, yes, there's petrol. We are not saying stop the use of petrol because it will take quite a while, but there's a need for us to begin to prepare grounds for the use of green hydrogen energy. To do that, we have to rise above the level 3 I just mentioned. There is an atlas on ground. After the atlas, there needs to be a pilot project. From the atlas, we could select areas that will give us the best potential. Then enabling policy will help us to go into such areas and develop them with the help of investors. And in developing those, we will have to work with partners like Germany because the technology is not ours yet. However, we are currently at a stage of a master's program is ongoing, an initiative of the initiative that came out of this green hydrogen energy atlas research. So there's an ongoing master's program to train young West Africans, not just Nigerians, young West Africans, to begin to form the critical mass that would help us get to the stage we are. So to get there, we have to create awareness massively. The government has to be ready to listen to scientists, and then there should be an enabling policy with a strategy attached.
All right. Prof, we've just about run out of time, but the good thing about this is that we can probably, continue a bit tomorrow and, find out a bit more about this whole exciting matter, especially how our peers in the region are doing. We've just heard now that we're on 3. You're not happy. Most Nigerians won't be happy because we say, our people say Nigeriano they carry last. So we want to move forward, to get higher up there on the scale. But I wanted to thank you, Professor Apollonia Ohimame, Director, WASCAL Climate Change, and also to extend our thanks to Dr. Solomon Agbo, Project Coordinator, Atlas for Green Hydrogen Energy Potentials for Africa. Thank you very much, Doctor. Again, as I was saying, we'll find out a bit more about this tomorrow because it seems like such an exciting subject, and we do need a bit more sort of enlightenment. So thank you both.